We've got more Q3 sales data, and it is bad. The car market is collapsing in a lot of ways, and for specific brands in particular. We have sales up a little bit at Ford, down at General Motors, like we talked about yesterday. Nissan's in trouble, Stellantis is in trouble, and Toyota and Honda both had fewer sales than anticipated.
Attention, people, because the world of car ownership is about to take you on a wild ride. We all know how much things have gotten bad these days. Well, things are about to get so much worse. The auto industry, it's a hot mess, thanks to a dizzying roller coaster of economic ups and downs. And these shifts aren't just some far-off fantasy cooked up in a stuffy boardroom. Oh no, countless car owners across the US and the globe are finding themselves scrambling to rewrite their financial playbooks, their whole plan. So how will this affect you exactly? What's the solution? And most importantly, what the heck is happening? It's like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded while juggling flaming torches. Not for the faint of heart, but fear not, my friend, because we're about to dive into some strategies that'll help you steer clear of the potholes and cruise through these new challenges like a boss. First up on our wild ride, the dreaded price surge panic. It's the stuff of nightmares. Ownership costs are shooting up faster than a rocket to the moon. From basic maintenance to the jaw-dropping expense of car insurance and the heart-palpitating world of car financing, every aspect of car ownership is getting pricier by the minute. And let me tell you, I've been there, done that, and bought the overpriced source of headache. These days, it seems like every driver and their second cousin is stuck in the same sticky web of frustration and skyrocketing expenses. But don't just take my word for it, because the numbers paint a picture so vivid. These figures are about to hit you hard. But before we get into that, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on videos like these. How bad is it? Have seen at the situation the car insurance is in. You won't believe this, but the average car insurance premium across the nation is set to skyrocket by a mind-boggling 22% in the coming year. And if you thought that was bad, get this. We already saw a whopping 24% increase in 2023. By the time we bid farewell to this year, the typical annual premium will be hovering around a staggering $2,469. That's enough to make your wallet cry out for mercy. But here's the thing, this isn't some sudden out of the blue shock. We've been on this wild ride since way back in 2021, with premiums slowly but surely creeping up like a sneaky thief in the night. So what's causing this car insurance catastrophe? Well, it's like a perfect storm of factors all coming together to create one giant mess. Picture a cocktail shaker filled with a dash of this and a splash of that, and you've got a recipe for soaring auto insurance rates that'll make your head spin fast. Now, you might be thinking, oh, it's just inflation doing its thing, but trust me, it's way more complicated than that. Some states are seeing premium increases that'll make your jaw drop faster than a lead balloon. Take Minnesota, for example. This frigid state is gearing up for a heart-stopping 61% surge in car insurance premiums. Yikes! So what's behind this massive spike? Two words: crazy weather and sneaky fraud. These factors are throwing a wrench into how insurance companies calculate risk, and the consequences are anything but pretty. And in Missouri, it seems like folks need to hold on to their hats and their wallets too, because car insurance rates are set to jump by a staggering 55%. Now, you might be scratching your head, wondering what's causing this huge hike in the show me state. Well, let's just say Mother Nature has been throwing some serious temper tantrums lately. Climate change is rearing its ugly head, bringing more intense weather events and, you guessed it, more insurance claims and higher costs. It's like a vicious cycle. More storms equal more damage, which equals higher premiums. Talk about a lose-lose situation. And let's not forget about the Golden State, California, where it's not just the sun and the waves that are riding high. Californians are bracing for a jaw-dropping 54% increase in their car insurance premiums. And let's not forget, this isn't just happening in a handful of states. Oh no, this trend is spreading across the country like wildfire in a dry forest. It's enough to make you want to ditch your car and take up rollerblading instead, or a bike. Honestly, anything is better at this point. See, we are just scratching the surface here. So if you're wondering why your insurance premiums are suddenly giving your bank account a run for its money, you're not alone. There are 3 factors to be exact, so let's break this down. Tech takeover. See, the world of auto insurance is undergoing a dramatic overhaul, all thanks to the rapid rise of technology. This shift, popularly known as the tech takeover, isn't just a buzzword. It's a transformative force that's changing how we create, price, and manage policies. Imagine a landscape where telematics, data analytics, and even autonomous vehicles play pivotal roles. It's time for an exciting deep dive into these groundbreaking advancements and their implications for both insurance companies and policyholders alike. So what exactly is telematics? At its core, telematics combines telecommunications and monitoring systems to gather essential data from vehicles on the road. This technology tracks various driving behaviors. Think speed, acceleration patterns, braking habits, and even geographical locations. Traditionally, insurers relied heavily on demographic data and historical accident statistics to assess risk. However, with telematics, they can go beyond those limitations, using concrete real-time data to gauge how safely a person actually drives. This innovation has led to the emergence of usage-based insurance programs. But what does that mean for you? Well, it allows insurance companies to offer customized premiums based on your driving habits. If you're the type of driver who accelerates smoothly and avoids sudden stops, you could snag discounts on your premiums. This personalized pricing model gives consumers more control over their insurance costs while encouraging safer driving habits. How cool is that? Now, let's talk about how all this data impacts risk assessment. The real-time information streaming from telematics enables insurers to refine their risk evaluation processes. Instead of solely depending on broad statistical averages, they can take a close look at how individuals drive, which leads to fairer pricing. Safe drivers get rewarded with lower premiums, while those with riskier behaviors might see their costs rise. It's a win for responsible drivers. Moving on to data analytics. It's a powerhouse of information. With the surge of big data analytics, insurance companies can sift through enormous amounts of data at lightning speed. Leveraging advanced techniques like predictive modeling and machine learning algorithms, insurers can spot trends and risk indicators with pinpoint accuracy. Not only does this boost risk management, but it also enhances the overall customer experience. We're talking about quicker claims processing and more precise settlements. Predictive modeling is playing an increasingly crucial role, allowing insurers to anticipate future claims based on current driving data. On an optimistic note, research shows that over 90% of car accidents stem from human error. With the advancement of autonomous vehicle technology, we can expect a notable decrease in accidents over time. This could lead to lower insurance premiums in the future. However, the initial costs of insuring these high-tech vehicles might be a bit steep due to expensive repair needs. Let's break this down. One major factor making waves is the higher price tag of these new cars filled with tech, especially electric vehicles. EVs generally cost more than your average gas-powered car. For example, the average price of a new electric vehicle is about $58,940. Crazy, right? That's over $10,000 more than the average cost of a new gasoline vehicle, which sits at around $48,008. Since insurance companies usually calculate premiums based on the manufacturer's suggested retail price, it means that higher prices lead directly to higher premiums for those owning electric vehicles. You can see how this domino effect works. More expensive cars equal more expensive insurance. But it's not just the purchase price that impacts your wallet. Repairs are another biggie. As modern vehicles become increasingly sophisticated, the implications for repair expenses and insurance premiums are quite apparent. Today's cars come packed with intricate systems that were unimaginable just a decade ago. Features like adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assistance, and ultra-modern infotainment systems are now commonplace. Sure, these high-tech features enhance safety and convenience on the road, but they also make repairs a lot more complicated. For example, consider sensors and cameras. Many contemporary vehicles are outfitted with multiple sensors and cameras that help drivers park and avoid collisions. If something goes wrong with one of these components, the price tag for a replacement can be jaw-dropping. A minor accident that might have only cost a few $100 to fix in an older car could easily spiral into thousands of dollars for a tech-rich vehicle. That's a significant hit to any driver's budget. Furthermore, the parts used in these high-tech cars are often proprietary proprietary. This means they are unique to particular manufacturers, which require specialized knowledge for repairs. This specialized knowledge not only raises labor costs, but also extends the duration to complete repairs. The result is longer waits without your vehicle and larger claims when accidents do happen, putting even more pressure on both consumers and insurers. See, when an accident occurs involving vehicles packed with advanced technology, the cost of the claims usually shoots up due to the steep repair expenses. Insurers have to account for these potential payouts when they set their premiums. Consequently, this leads to higher rates across the board for all drivers. It's a frustrating cycle that seems to keep spiraling, but that's not all. There's also the emerging concern of cybersecurity. As our cars become more connected through features like Wi-Fi hotspots and the ability to start your vehicle from your phone, they also become more vulnerable to hacking. Yes, you heard that right. Hackers could potentially gain control over crucial vehicle systems or access sensitive data, and that's pretty alarming. How does this threat affect insurance costs? Well, insurers now need to consider potential costs associated with cybersecurity breaches when underwriting policies. This means they may push premiums higher to cushion against the financial fallout of cyber attacks. Additionally, if a vehicle gets hacked and an accident occurs as a result, determining liability becomes murky. Insurers might hike premiums to cover potential legal fees tied to these kinds of incidents. Another intriguing piece of the puzzle is usage-based insurance. While telematics technology offers an exciting opportunity for discounts based on safe driving, it does come with its own set of challenges. For one, privacy concerns can deter some drivers from sharing their driving data. If drivers hesitate to participate in usage-based programs, insurers might charge higher rates for those who are unwilling or unable to share this information. Also, the constant monitoring of driving behavior can make some drivers feel like they're under scrutiny. While this anxiety may not directly influence premium rates, it can change how consumers approach their insurance providers and alter their behaviors behind the wheel. And let's talk about market dynamics shaped by the recent upheaval in global supply chains. Especially due to the pandemic, the disruption has led to shortages of essential parts needed for vehicle repairs, and this presents a big challenge. Longer wait times for parts mean that vehicles often sit in the shop longer. This extended downtime ultimately leads to higher overall repair costs that insurers have to absorb. At the same time, there's a higher demand for advanced repairs. With more high-tech cars hitting the streets, the search for skilled technicians who can handle repairs on these vehicles intensifies, which again drives up labor costs. Finally, we have the insurance model adaptation. As technology progresses, insurance companies are forced to reevaluate their models to stay relevant. That means creating new coverage types to address the unique risks tied to advanced vehicle technologies. In many cases, this adjustment process results in temporary rate increases as companies recalibrate their pricing structures to manage the evolving landscape. What about inflation and market dynamics? This is what acts as a major catalyst for rising costs all around. First and foremost, soaring repair costs are making headlines. Inflation has become the main game changer in this arena, pushing up prices for everything involved in vehicle repairs. Can you believe that repair costs have shot up by over 40%? That's a staggering figure. This spike can be traced back to several key factors. So, what does all this mean for insurance premiums? As repair costs continue to climb, insurance companies find themselves compelled to increase premiums to maintain profitability. For instance, a recent report showed that auto insurance rates soared by an astonishing 22% year over year, with certain states even experiencing a massive spike of up to 61%. This trend is not merely a reaction to singular claims. Instead, it reflects the broader economic pressures fueled by inflation. Now, let's not overlook the rise in auto thefts. This issue has become alarmingly amplified, and inflation has played a sneaky role in its increase. In fact, over 1 million vehicles were reported stolen in 2022, a concerning 7% rise from previous years. But inflation is not the only reason one of the culprits behind these thefts. Keyless entry systems. They've become particularly attractive targets as thieves have developed sophisticated methods for bypassing these security features. But what does this mean for your insurance? With the surge in theft-related claims, insurers face another layer of complexity. The payouts for stolen vehicles can be hefty, forcing insurers to raise overall costs. As these theft-related losses accumulate, companies often find it necessary to increase premiums across the board to offset the financial impact. Additionally, the uptick in theft rates forces insurers to reassess their risk models. Areas that report higher theft rates often see steeper increases in premiums, which can place a heavier financial burden on consumers. But that is not all. See, as road traffic is returning to pre-pandemic levels, accidents are surging right alongside it. A staggering 127% increase in drivers using handheld devices has been observed between 2012 and 2021. With more accidents come more insurance claims and consequently higher payouts for insurers. The bottom line, an increase in accidents puts more pressure on insurance companies. They face higher settlement costs, especially since more legal involvement in claims is becoming the norm. This means that insurers find themselves dishing out larger sums for each claim, which ultimately translates into increased premiums for consumers. Moreover, as premium rates continue to rise, many drivers are becoming more wary of even minor accidents. In a bid to avoid premium hikes, many are choosing not to file claims for small damages. Unfortunately, this avoidance can lead to underreporting of incidents, which could skew the data that insurers use for risk assessments even further. It's a delicate balance. But let's shift gears to depreciation, which acts as a silent drain on vehicle value. Did you know that new cars lose about 20% of their value the moment they leave the dealership? By the end of their 5th year, they can lose nearly 60% of their initial worth. This rapid depreciation impacts insurance in several key ways. As vehicles lose value, the amount insurers need to pay out for claims also decreases over time. But here's the kicker: just because the market value is dropping doesn't mean your premiums will. Insurers might readjust their pricing strategies based on perceived risks rather than actual replacement costs. This tactic doesn't always benefit consumers. Understanding depreciation also plays a significant role in how consumers decide to approach vehicle ownership and insurance coverage. Many people may opt for older cars, thinking they'll save money, which brings us to the next factor contributing to this mess: a market in distress. The collapse of the used car market is unfolding like a gripping tragedy, filled with unexpected twists and turns that leave both sellers and buyers feeling dizzy. As we dive into this chaotic narrative, let's take a closer look at how this downturn is amplifying the struggles faced by so many people today. Let's start with the current landscape: a veritable flood of unsold vehicles filling dealership lots across the country. Imagine walking into a massive sea of cars that were once sought after but are now left like abandoned relics. These lots are bursting at the seams with cars that include repossessed vehicles, damaged goods, and countless rides that just didn't find a buyer. It's a staggering scene. Reports are showing some wholesale prices dropping by as much as 4.4% overnight for particular categories, like full-size trucks. This situation isn't merely a typical market correction. This is a full-blown crisis that's sending shockwaves through the entire industry. Now, let's talk about the despair-gripping sellers in this bleak scenario. Many sellers find themselves stuck in a nightmare, needing to drastically reduce prices just to attract any buyers at all. It's turning into a frantic race to the bottom, where certain vehicles lose hundreds of dollars in value almost instantly. For many who once viewed these cars as valuable assets, the reality has morphed into a financial burden they never anticipated. Picture a seller standing helplessly as the rightful value of their vehicle vanishes like smoke in the wind. This kind of scene would make anyone feel like they're living inside a horror movie. As we look further into the impacts of this downturn, we can't ignore the broader economic turmoil that's hanging over us like a dark cloud. Consumers everywhere are tightening their belts, and with inflation gripping the nation tightly while interest rates soar to a staggering 8.15%, many potential buyers have simply retreated from the market altogether. The fear of financial instability has caused a considerable decline in discretionary spending, so those shiny new cars and even reliable used ones are being tossed aside like yesterday's news. Understandably, people are choosing to hold on to their cash. This creates what can only be described as a vicious cycle of decline. High interest rates loom over the auto market as a persistent specter. Many new car owners are struggling to keep up with their payments, which has led to a sharp uptick in repossessions. This influx of vehicles hitting the used market adds to an already oversupplied inventory, while demand dwindles, resulting in a further drop in prices. When it rains, it pours. Every additional car hitting the market dilutes the overall value of the rest. And let's not forget the psychological toll this situation is taking on buyers. The excitement excitement that once came with purchasing a vehicle has now been overshadowed by worries about hidden costs, such as rising insurance premiums and maintenance fees that can transform even the best deal into a financial nightmare. Buyers might feel paralyzed, caught in a tricky state between the desire to make a move and the fear of making the wrong choice. Now, even the luxury car market is suffering tremendously. Once deemed symbols of status and success, prices for premium brands have plummeted, some dropping by as much as 36%. Consumers are taking a long, hard look at their priorities in this uncertain economic climate and deciding that the luxury vehicle they once aspired to own now feels more like a liability. This shift pushes even affluent buyers to consider safer, more economical options instead, something we wouldn't have seen just a few years ago. As we navigate this landscape, it's apparent that the downfall of the used car market isn't just an isolated incident. It's part of a larger narrative filled with economic despair and shifts in consumer behavior. The drama continues to unfold, with sellers struggling to cope with their losses, while buyers face mounting pressures that leave them feeling trapped. What does the future hold for this market? Only time will tell, but for now, the implications are deeply felt across the board, leaving everyone to wonder how to survive this tumultuous chapter. So what are the implications? Soaring bills for insurance, maintenance, and gas are not just ordinary items on your monthly budget. They wield significant influence over the economic landscape around us. These rising costs impact not only individual finances, but also send shockwaves through the economy. They raise crucial questions about consumer behavior and social equity in times of financial strain, as owning a car becomes increasingly burdensome, particularly with insurance premiums projected to rise by a staggering 22% in 2024. The pressure on consumers is palpable. This financial strain translates to less disposable income for life's pleasures. Those fun outings and cherished experiences start to feel like luxuries one can no longer afford. According to the American Automobile Association, the overall cost of owning a car has climbed to approximately $12,297 annually. This hefty expense weighs heavily on budgets, particularly due to depreciation and finance charges. How does this affect the retail and service sectors? When consumers tighten their belts on non-essential spending, retail businesses often see a decline in sales. This slowdown can stifle economic growth, compelling retailers to adapt to new consumer frugality. Then we can factor in inflation. As transportation costs surge, the prices of our favorite goods and services, especially those heavily reliant on logistics, also climb. This inflationary pressure complicates household budgets and impacts quality of life, forcing consumers to be more cautious about spending on new gadgets or entertainment. Low-income families face the toughest challenges. For them, having a car is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Rising ownership costs hit hard, putting significant financial strain on these households. Spending on car-related expenses like insurance has surged by 30% since 2020, taking a larger bite out of the budgets of lower-income families compared to those with more disposable income. With average car insurance premiums escalating to about $2,469 annually, especially in states like California and Minnesota, where rates could spike over 50%, the struggle becomes palpable for these families. For many, a vehicle serves as more than just transportation. It's a vital lifeline to jobs and stability. Rising costs lead some to delay essential repairs or maintenance, jeopardizing future employment due to the risk of breakdowns. In regions where public transportation is limited, affordable alternatives become crucial, making reliable vehicle ownership essential for job security. Policymakers, businesses, and industry experts must navigate this evolving landscape thoughtfully. As the situation unfolds, how will they adapt and what solutions will emerge to help consumers manage these rising costs effectively? As for you and me, who are in the middle of these financial pressures, it's essential to maintain proactive strategies for car expenses. Regular maintenance, often overlooked, can save car owners from catastrophic repair bills down the line. Establishing a solid budgeting plan for upkeep, including a sinking fund for unexpected expenses, can ease the strain of ownership. The rising costs associated with car ownership serve as a stark reminder of the broader economic landscape, echoing the urgent need for comprehensive solutions. What strategies have you found helpful to cope with these challenges? Please share your stories and insight in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you there.